Well, thank you everybody for coming. Most of you know me. My name is Thomas O'Connor. I am an agent with Unlimited Sotheby's Real Estate and also property manager with Boston Property Care, which is a sister company to Unlimited Sotheby's. Because I do both, I wear both hats, I have over time learned that many of the things that the property management clients are interested in are also the same things that the sales and buying clients are in. So the purpose of this particular presentation is going to be on water saving. I'm going to be doing more presentations in the next year to come, inviting other guests and other topics. But I wanted to hit water saving because this is something that is immediate, that everybody can do. It's relatively inexpensive, and it's going to be very, very effective. So this is my name and my information. The little bit of background, just so you have context. As you know, 71% of this planet is water, okay? And that's a big number. However, freshwater totals are about 2.5%. And in reality, only 1% of the fresh water is actually easily accessible. We've got water in ice caps and in places that are hard to reach. So when we're talking about water, the water that we're going to be using for our homes, we're tapping that out of the 1%. Okay? So let's talk about human beings. And I have some prompts here. Average adult male is about 200 pounds in America. Okay? That's 15 gallons of water. So basically, this is what every average American male is made out of in water. Average females are 12 gallons. So it's these two of these plus two 1-gallon containers. So that way you can kind of imagine what you're kind of walking around and carrying around yourself. And as far as what we consume, what we need to consume according to the Mayo Clinic, and I've heard different numbers, but Mayo Clinic says a gallon a day for a male and 3/4 of a gallon for females. And for anybody that be watching this that uses only metric, they're going to have to Google the conversion, because I don't know. But we're here to talk about our use. And this pie chart shows roughly what we use for water. Now, this is all inside water I'm talking about. I'm not talking about outside water. Okay? I'm not talking about irrigating lawns, filling pools, what have you. And you'll notice that the biggest thing is toilets. They use 1/4 of all the water that we consume. Okay? And then it goes down to shower, and faucets, clothes washing, leak and other. I kind of combine these into a miscellaneous, and you'll see where I go with that in this presentation. This is 275 gallons. That is actually a 275-gallon container full of water, and this is what the average family of 4 uses every day.
Wow.
That is, to put it into context. You can also see it as an oil tank. If you have an oil tank in your basement, that's 275 gallons. That is going every day, every day. And again, this is inside water. Come on in. 275 gallons. We're going to break this down into its constituent parts. Just get some chairs. So, using the breakdown, 70 gallons goes through toilets, 55 gallons through showers, 52 gallons through faucets. Notice I have 2 faucets on here, and there's a reason for that, and I'll get into that as we go. And 47 gallons with washers, and then the miscellaneous is another 50 gallons. Okay? So, 70 gallons. Let's tackle the big one first, toilets. This is what 70 gallons looks like. This is a 55-gallon drum, plus 3 of these. That is every day. Imagine the flushing sound. That is what you are literally flushing down the toilet every day. Now, toilets, I have some interesting history. So before the 1990s, average toilets had tanks that had 3.5 gallons. So every time you flush, 3.5 gallons went down. People of a certain age will probably remember those when they used to take a while to fill up. I've actually read that some made in the 70s and before used as much as 5 to 7 gallons. Imagine every time you use the bathroom, the toilet, you flush this much water down. I mean, that's a colossal amount of water. So in the 1990s, the federal government said, that's enough, you gotta cut it down, and they went to 1.6 gallons per flush. So that is what you will see almost everywhere now. If you see older houses, you might still see the older toilets, but 1.6 is the average of the new one, and that's the standards required. There are high efficiency toilets you're gonna see that have 1.28 gallons, and they have a little dual flush, and you probably see them in Home Depot. There is, however, an ultra high efficiency toilet that uses 0.8 gallons per flush. And that's made by one company, it's called Niagara Conservation. They were kind enough to actually send me this right here. This is a see-through tank, and the device inside is why it uses so little. The water fills the tank like it would any other, but when you flush by pushing down, only this part in the middle flushes down. The water that surrounds it in the tank actually pushes down on it, creating the pressure. It's a fantastic toilet. They are not paying me to do this. I put these in my home. I've been using them for years in property that I own, investment property. I've been putting them in. And in our property management, every time we switch out a toilet, we're slowly switching people over to these. They actually don't cost that much more. They're about $250. And they look like a regular toilet, as you can see. So if you install one of these toilets, you can actually have a 12% reduction in your overall water use. That's off the 275 gallons, okay? Because even if you have the current federally mandated 1.6, this cuts it in half. So what have we done? We've taken 35 gallons off the 275 total. So we're down to 240 gallons that we're using every day. We just did that with toilets. So as I said in my promo when I was sending it out, I could save you about 15%. Here's 12.5. It's easy. It's kind of cheating because I know how to get at least within 2.5 points.
So Tom, how much does that one use now per flush?
This uses 0.8 gallons.
0.8, wow.
It's remarkable, and it really works. I used it in my home. We put it in on we replaced one of our toilets with it. No problems. It doesn't cause any problems. It doesn't jam up or anything like that. And then I put it in my second one. Mm-hmm. So really, if I flush 2 toilets in my house, it's equivalent of the low flow standard once. Yes.
Can you retrofit that in a tank, or can you, if not, can you buy the tank separate?
No, not that I know. The bowl itself, because there are 2 connections here, the bowl itself has to connect with it. But we're talking $250 here. This is not an expensive. This is really not an expensive device. Yeah.
And where do you get those? The plumbing supply, or?
You can. There's a couple of plumbing supply houses. I think Faxon is the company that is theirs. We have access through it through Boston Property Care. Be more than happy to send you the right people. You just reach out to me. Just send me an email or call me. Happy to connect you with them.
Can you say their name again?
Niagara Conservation. And then I'm going to have actually their website up at the end.
So there aren't that many plumbing supply places that have
Oh,
them
you
yet?
can. I mean, the thing is, every time I called them, it was, okay, yes, I think we could find it, and then they had to go call someone to, actually, where they have it in the warehouse, there are only 2 that I know of. And they just have it and boom, they drop ship it. I have clients, it's funny, again, property management and sales world, helped a client buy a property recently, toilet needed to be replaced, and I said, listen, just have your plumber come to my office. They just drop shipped it to my office, right up here. And they just picked it up and took it.
You think that they wouldn't be able to turn them over fast enough?
Well, that's the thing. I've actually spoken with them. They're really nice folks. I mean, they are the ones who supplied these shower heads that I'm going to be giving to everybody. Yeah, you'd think that they'd be doing.
Maybe a lot of property owners, they just think that 0.8 gallons, geez, how can that work?
Well, that's what I'm trying to do here.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get everybody to be aware of it. There's a question? Oh, all right. So, for those of you that may know somebody who has commercial property, restaurant, what have you, urinals are an interesting thing, and that is urinals use a gallon. That's the average, which is an amazing amount of waste of water. California, and I'm going to get into the California laws, has actually instituted a 0.125 gallon standard, but they have waterless ones, and they use no water whatsoever. What's brilliant about these is there's actually less plumbing you have to deal with. There's no water coming in. It works on the filter. The filter has to be replaced every so often. If you want to see an example of one of these, JP Licks right here, the ice cream store, in the men's room, you can see the waterless urinals. And the companies, this is what they look like. They have, I guess they worked out the backsplash issues and all that. They're produced, the first one I've ever seen was made by Sloan, but American Standard, Kohler, and others make these. Great products. So if you know anybody that has a commercial property that has urinals, tell them to go with this. Just save a ton. Okay, so for the next part, I have to do a little science. For those of you that know science, which is probably more than I would know, please forgive me if I'm butchering this. Bernoulli principle. I should look this guy up. Rather interesting guy, interesting family, real genius. And his principle for fluid dynamics, and I'll read it, an increase of speed of a fluid occurs simultaneously with a decrease in pressure or a decrease in a fluid's potential energy. What does that mean? I don't. I had to. So if a fluid moves from a wider pipe into a narrow one, the volume of that fluid that moves a given distance in a given time period does not change. But since the width of the narrow pipe is smaller, the fluid must move faster to achieve that result. So water from a big goes into a little, speeds up. Or, for someone like me to understand, this. That's Bernoulli's principle. Everybody's done it. And why do you do it? Because when you have a hose and the water comes out, if you want to spray, you put your thumb on it or you get the little head on it and you can actually use it to spray. And this is where it's going to get us into the next one, and that is showers. 55 gallons. That is a 55-gallon drum. That's me. That is what you're pouring on yourself every day. The average family of 4 is using. Now, shower heads are mandated to use a maximum of 2.5 gallons per minute. Okay, so GPM, when you see GPM, that's what that means. There are shower heads that use as low as 2 and 1.5. These shower heads, I believe, use 1.5. These are the Niagara ones, and everybody's going to be leaving with these, and they can put them on. The 2.0 shower head, and I did this for the purposes of this presentation, I wanted to go conservative. If you install a 2.0 shower head, you're reducing your water usage by 20%. Okay, if you do a 1.5, you're actually reducing by 40%. But let's just stick with the 20. Another 4% reduction off the total. 240 gallons minus 11 gallons. Now we're down to 229 gallons. So, toilet, shower head. Now, not even one as intense as this. We're down to 229 gallons from 275. Now we're getting somewhere. This is inexpensive. It's easy to do. Doesn't take much. And the Bernoulli principle, which we're going to be talking about more, is really important in this. So 52 gallons. Since I don't have a way to show what 52 gallons is other than a math, take this drum and remove 3 gallons from it. So it's almost the same amount. Okay. Faucets. Remember how I said I'm breaking them down into 2? This is important. Bathroom faucets, kitchen faucets. Current flow, the standard, gallons per minute. Kitchen faucets, 2.5. Bathrooms, 2.2. The way you reduce it is using an aerator. Everybody's seen an aerator, everybody's used it. That's that little thing that makes the water bubble, kind of gets that airy kind of thing going on when you turn on the water. Because if you turn on the water without an aerator, it's like a garden hose. Just an amazing amount of water comes through it. And it's all wasted because what do you really need with faucets? You need pressure. So bathroom faucets you can reduce down to 1 or even down to 0.5 gallons per minute. So 1 gallon per minute is 46% savings, 0.5 is 77%. Now, the reason why you can be aggressive with a bathroom aerator is that you're really looking for pressure. You're not looking for volume. What are you doing? You're washing your hands. You're putting your toothbrush under. You don't actually need a lot of water. You just need the water to spray down. Okay. I put in the 1 gallon per minute. The 1 gallon ones worked fine. 6 months later, we had one of these little portable humidifiers. I put the little tray underneath. I turned the water on all the way. couldn't quite understand what was going on. I could go downstairs, have a sandwich, read the paper. It just was taking forever to fill up. And that's when I realized, right, it's the volume that I need for this particular application. So what I'm saying is it worked. Now kitchen faucets, they can be reduced too, but I've had some experience with this. Don't be too aggressive. Go to 2, go to 2, you'll be fine. Because if you go further, you're gonna frustrate yourself because you're gonna have to fill a pot from time to time. If you go to 2, you're gonna reduce by 20%. So you get your big production here, the 46 and 77, and down here you get your 20, okay? And so, averaging it out, you've got a 25% savings off the 275. That's another 5%, that's a 5% total. Another 14 gallons off, down to 215 gallons. What did we start off with? We started off with 275. We're down to 215. This is the easiest, this is the cheapest thing that you could possibly do. So California actually kind of went ahead of everybody on this because of their massive droughts that they had. So they actually did this by executive order and then they pushed it through their legislature. So all their toilets went down to 1.28, okay? This is 0.8, so we can beat California all day long. Bathroom faucets, they went down to 1.2. I'm showing you 1 to 0.5. You can beat them. Bathroom faucets, public, are 0.5, so they have a difference there. Kitchen faucets, 1.8. This is interesting. Remember how I said keep it at 2? You can go to 2.2. I guess they have some kind of switch that'll allow you to go higher for that purpose of filling up the pot. Otherwise, you drive yourself crazy. If you have an income property and you have tenants, if you get too aggressive, what are they going to do? They're going to screw it and they're going to put something else on it. So don't drive them crazy. Stick with the 2. You'll be fine. Okay? So everything I've showed you here meets or exceeds California standards. 46 gallons. This is what 46 gallons looks like. Washing machines. This is some really good low-hanging fruit here. So, if you have a top-loading washer, you can use 40 to 45 gallons per load. It seems like a colossal amount of water. That's almost a 55-gallon drum every time you do the laundry. I actually filled a washing machine by hand using rainwater just to see how much it took. I couldn't believe it. It felt bottomless. I'm just pouring water into it. And then I realized, wait, there's still a rinse cycle. And that's really where you get to the 40 to 45. So if a family of 4 is using an older top-loading machine, it's 300 loads per year. That's 12,000 gallons, okay? That's what a 12 by 24 in-ground pool is, 12,000 gallons, okay? That's actually more than that kind of pool uses. So think of a small in-ground pool. That's what your washing machine does every year. But there is a solution. So top loading and front loading have changed. Efficient top loaders are down to 25 gallons. That's really good. Front loaders use closer to 14 gallons. Okay? Top loaders are easier to use. You forget a sock. Oh my goodness, you run, open, throw the sock in, put it back down. With front loaders, that door locks and it's tight. Now I've seen some newer ones where that the little Samsung has it, I think, with the little door on the top and all that. So front loaders are more expensive and they take longer to cycle through a load. I'm not sure if the time is really an issue, but they are more expensive. It is something to think about. I think that in this case, if you have a top loader that's really old and it's about to fall apart, then you can make that choice, hey, do I spend the extra money and go with a front loader? Now, one of the things is that questions arrive about tenants. If you have washing machines as coin-ops in your multifamily or in your building, one of the things to think about is staying with a top loader that is a low-use top loader, but not going all the way with the front loader. And one of the reasons is that just anecdotally, I'm hearing from people that the front loaders are a little bit more sensitive when it comes to tenants using things. You know, great, you're saving the water, but if they break the machine, there's that, all the water savings you have. So I recommend not going too aggressive when it comes with a tenant situation, but for your own home, go fully aggressive if you can, okay? So if you install a front-loading washer, you're gonna reduce consumption from the top loading by 44%. That's another 20 gallons off the top. So we're down 195 gallons. We started at 275. That's a total savings of 30%. What did I say? 15%. All right? If you have the washer situation and you want to go aggressive with it, you can go all the way to 30%. But 15% is completely and easily attainable for actually not a lot of money. So there you go. 80 gallons. This is how much you're going to save. This plus these is how much you're going to save every day. And that adds up. It's going to add up on your bill. If you are a multifamily owner, you are paying for the water in Massachusetts. Yes, you can meter water to tenants. It is a complicated, sort of expensive process to do, so most landlords don't opt for it. They pay for the water. Well, if you could save 80 gallons a day with your tenants, or even half of that, that's like having a small rent increase, and you haven't done anything. So that is the 15 to 30% reduction. It's easy, anybody can do it. This is a little preview of what I'm going to be doing in the spring. Remember I was talking about inside water? The 275 gallons of inside water. Outside water, I'm going to give you a little shocking numbers here. Each square foot of lawn requires 0.62 gallons of water. So 1,000 square feet of lawn requires 620 gallons twice a week. 1,240 gallons. So per month, 1,000 square feet of lawn needs 5,000 gallons.
So
Okay?
dig below.
So
Dig it out.
June through September is, so your 1,000 square foot lawn, June through September requires 20,000 gallons. So I did a little math. First of all, remember, it's gonna rain, so it's not like we're living in a complete desert here where it's never gonna rain, but this is what it needs, whether it's raining or not raining. I actually measured the rainfall in Massachusetts. You can't get there. You almost can't get there. I think it's 15,000 gallons is what it rains on average. However, there are things that I can show, and I'm going to be doing a thing in the spring about rainwater harvesting that can actually help, and it's about how to capture some of the water from your roof. You probably saw some of the props that I had. These are some of the props. These are some of the things that I use in my house. I wanted to give a special thank you to Niagara Conservation. They're the ones who sent me this. I have to send it back to them. Very nice folks. And they're the ones who provided all the shower heads. They were very interested in what I was doing. And this is their website. This is their phone number if you want to reach out to them. Great folks. Questions? Yes.
Bernoulli principle, etc. With the toilet like that, what is the probability of clogging? And I ask
No more than a regular toilet.
regular toilet. Okay.
And one of the things that turned me on to them when I was researching them, they had a YouTube video of him going with a toilet, a see-through toilet, to some fair, some science fair or something. And they decided to flush what was the equivalent of one's business. And I was fascinated on what they actually used as the thing to represent it. They used these little blue packets, and they just shoved them right in, pressed the button, they went down. And they did it over and over. They had people go, okay, put them in, don't believe us, you do it. And they just kept going through. Like I said, I've used them in my house. They do not clog any more, any less than any other toilet I've ever used in my life. And we've got 4 people in our house, we've got kids, so they work, they're for real. Other questions? All righty.
Oh, you said you were gonna talk about the leaks.
Well, no, the leaks, when they set that on the chart,
Yeah.
leaks are things that,
have
when they
water
happen, they happen. And you'll use a lot of water, but they're not really things that happen on a regular basis.
Oh.
Okay, I do actually have someone that I've been in touch with. He's actually developing a device called a leak spotter. He's not ready yet on the market, but it's a really cool device that uses Bluetooth technology to actually measure water as it's going through a toilet. It's really something. So there's actually some really exciting things about that coming up. He's introduced me to some MIT people that are also working on doing ultra specific measurements on water flows, so they can figure out what's going on. Other questions?
Where do you get those little things?
The aerators,
Yes.
same company. Niagara, go to
So you
Niagara
can't get it
Corporate.
on Home
You can
Depot
actually
or
order this online with them.
So they'll sell it.
You could, I think you might be able to go on Amazon, just look it up, I think Faxon, Faxon, Faxon Sales or Faxon something.
It's not in Home Depot or anything?
No, not really at all. They have aerators at Home Depot, they just don't have their.
So do they come in different
Hmm?
widths?
Yeah, they
You need
have,
to know the width of your faucets and
I think the faucets are
Those are
pretty standard.
Oh,
You have to know if you have a male or a female,
okay.
So that's
screw-in
usually
part.
the
Yeah.
area too.
What it is, if you go to their website, you'll see the products,
Okay.
and then you can also go to Faxon and order it from there or wherever. You can order it from them directly. I've actually bought stuff from them directly. They told me to go to the warehouses because they said it's actually cheaper. It's actually more expensive for them to send the toilets to me than having the warehouse do it, because the
And
warehouse
if I
has them.
have one, it says what the number on
It will say, yeah, it'll actually, there's a site to order. You can actually
it? No,
order.
no, but if I have one right now
Mhm.
on the faucet.
You can actually unscrew it, take a look at it, and.
It says the number?
Well, it wouldn't be a number because they're all pretty general in size, but what you're looking for, is it a female screw-in or is it a male
No, but
screw-in?
would it tell me if it's like 1 GPM
Oh,
or 2 or
that's a good question.
0.5?
That should be on the area.
I don't know.
I think some of them do.
Yeah,
It may.
it's stamped on the side.
Maybe not all, but some of them do.
Okay.
So the,
Because I'd like to know.
Yeah.
what it is.
so that is it.